What's going on, everybody? Jeremy Ritz here. Courage pays better than fear. Here to prepare you for a brand new month of trading, August 2025. And this is where the weakness typically begins. After a hyper bullish July, we now enter in to what seasonally is a weak period that runs August through October. So I'm going to get you prepared of the most important dates for this month, how you can attack it, what to expect so that you can have a successful trading month. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So tomorrow, August 1st, this is based on the seasonality from the Stock Traders Almanac. So typically August 1st tends to be negative in its sentiment. And if you think back to last year, this is when the flash crash started because of weakness in the labor market. And what are we getting tomorrow? We are getting the unemployment rate and we are getting non-farms payroll. If we see weakness in the labor market in those numbers, we could see a corresponding drop down in the market. That's what happened last year. Not saying it's going to happen again, but it's something that we need to be aware of. When we shift into the second week of August, you can see that it's a pretty light week in terms of data. We are going to get ISM Services PMI. We are getting ISM Manufacturing PMI tomorrow. But really, that's it. There's going to be some other data that comes up, but nothing is going to be of importance like we've seen. We'll have some earnings coming through, but this will be a light week, August 4th through the 8th. And the other thing to keep in mind about August is the Fed does not have a meeting to make a rate decision. Now, they do have the Jackson Hole Symposium, which I'll talk about here a little bit later, but their next rate decision will not come until September of 2025. So no Fed meeting that we have to prepare for in August. Shifting over to the week of August 11th, this is a big week because we are going to get our monthly inflation reports beginning on August 12th with Consumer Price Index, CPI. And then on Thursday, we get the Producer Price Index. So we're going to get two inflation reads, the 12th and the 14th. We're going to be paying very close attention to them. You heard Jerome Powell talk about yesterday how they expect a short-term uptick in inflation. We've seen that in the numbers that have come out, but we should probably see higher numbers this time around. We should see that in the CPI and PPI. That will more than likely cause some downward pressure on equities. When we go to the 15th of August, typically around the middle of August, we see a slight shift to the bulls. And you can see the 15th is bullish sentiment, and it happens to be option expiration day. So we're going to see a lot of contracts expire there. We're going to get retail sales data and Michigan consumer sentiment. We'll finish out that week, and then we'll move over to the following week, August 18th. And you can see we're going to start with back-to-back days with bullish sentiment, the 18th and 19th. And we do get some data there on the 18th. That's building permits and housing starts. So we'll get information related to the housing market, and we'll see if that's going to have an impact on things from there. And then the 20th, we get the FOMC minutes. So from this past meeting that the Federal Reserve had, we'll get the talking points from there. We'll get to see what their discussions were about, and that will have a little bit of an impact on the market, and that typically drops at 2 p.m. And then on the 21st, we get more homes data. So existing home sales will come into play. And then we talked about how there isn't a Fed meeting in August, but we do get a Jerome Powell speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium. That will be on August 22nd. Now, let me rewind a few years back to 2022. When the market was pushing higher, and this was in the bear market. Jerome Powell spoke at the Jackson Hole Symposium and said that the increase in raising interest rates was going to inflict pain on families. And what we saw there was a massive drop that led to the October lows, the bear market lows, and then a rally. So just be prepared for that speech on the 22nd. We're probably going to see some volatility. And based on Powell's comments yesterday, he seems like he has an axe to grind with Trump, so we'll see if he's going to take more shots, more digs at this current administration and tariffs. So mark your calendar for the 22nd. I will be live streaming that here on the channel. And then coming over into the final week of August, you can see that we have 2 more days of bullish sentiment, the 25th and the 27th. We get durable goods orders on the 26th, and on the 27th, we get NVIDIA earnings. They have been running very hot here as of late. They pushed up higher following their last earnings report. So that's going to be one that we're going to circle and pay attention to because it will impact the broader markets. And then the 28th, we get GDP. The 29th, we get PCE, personal income, personal spending, and that will conclude the month of August. So Not as much activity as we've had in the past because we don't have a Fed meeting. We don't have a Fed rate decision. We're not going to have the glut of earnings like we had the big Mag 8, but we do get NVIDIA earnings. And again, there's weakness in this month, so we have to be prepared. And typically September continues that weakness. October does as well. Buyers typically step in at the end of October. So you want to start putting yourself in just the mindset of how will I protect myself, protect my positions? What shorts am I going to be looking at? Things are very extended right now, due for a pullback. Does that mean it's going to happen? Remember, markets are illogical. They can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, but you just have to be prepared. And knowing these dates will give you an advantage in terms of how you go about trading this final summer month of 2025. So let me know down in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you back here for another video. Make it a great day, everyone.
The fix is melting. Crocodile smile.